What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Drive Talk Cars. If this is your first time joining in, welcome to the channel. And if you've been here before, thanks for coming back. And if you haven't done so already, please click that subscribe button and notification bell. And I make sure to notify you every time I post a new video. All right, so let's get into today's video. Today, I will be doing my routine oil change on my E63 AMG. It's a 2011 W212 with the M156 engine. So let me show you the products and tools that you will need to perform this task. All right, so the products that we're going to be using today to perform the oil change will be a full synthetic 5W40 oil. Make sure it's SAE for European. Also, we have a filter, and you always want to make sure that you change your oil pan bolt and crush ring. This kit was provided by FCP Euro. They're really awesome. I'm not sponsored or plugged yet. So they actually make kits that you can just buy, and it has everything you need for a particular service. So that's really awesome. Next, we have gloves, of course, my torque wrench. Always need a floor jack, impact wrench, and then I have an extended ratchet wrench just in case. Floor jacks, 5-gallon open pan, paper towel, and then I have an oil pan that I use to put underneath everything, so in case the oil spills over, it will not get on my concrete. All right, so the first thing we're gonna have to do is jack up the car. There's jack points, if you're not familiar with it, underneath each corner. We're gonna just jack up the front. We have to jack the passenger side up a little higher than the driver's side because the oil pan bolt is actually on the driver's side, and when you want it to drain, you want it to be slightly tilted so it can drain all the way out. So let's jack it up. All right, so as you notice there on the passenger side, which is the left side, the car is slightly higher than on the driver's side, the right side. That's what you want so you can get full drainage out of the oil pan. All right, so let's go on to the next step. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is unscrew the cap for the oil filter. We're gonna use a 32mm socket and use a breaker bar, or I have a extendable ratchet socket, so it's kind of like a breaker bar. But wherever you have that's got some length on it so you can have leverage to unscrew it. All right, so let's do that. And you're screwing this off to relieve the pressure off of the system, so when you drain it out, it will flow smoothly. You untighten this, the oil, as well as the dipstick. More than likely, you're going to drain a little bit when you pull out the filter. So I have some paper towel ready. All right, so there's our filter. Pretty dirty. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the drain pan. All right, so next we're going to twist off the oil cap. Maybe I have to twist it off, but at least loosen it up. If you can't get it by your hand, you can use a socket to get it off. And I think that's what I'm going to do because I can't seem to get it with my hand. Okay, so I'm using a 17mm socket. This is an impact socket. You don't have to go that extreme, but that's the first one that I found, so I just used that. And just put it on top here. It shouldn't be too tight, but yep, there you go. So just breaking it so I can twist it a little easier with the hand. All right, so we broke the seal on that. All right, and finally you want to pull up the dipstick as well so you can relieve the pressure off of the system, so when you go to drain out the oil, it will flow smoothly. So next I'm going to show you how to change the filter out. So when you get your new filter, it's going to look brand new, obviously. This is the new one, that's the old one. Also in there you will have a rubber gasket. That gasket will replace the one that's on here currently. So this just snaps in there. Snaps in the top like this. So let's pull that out. And when you pull it out, there will be some oil more than likely if it hasn't drained all out. All right, so to get it out, you can pull it to the side and then it pops out. And then let's take off the gasket here. Like I said, it's a rubber gasket. All right, just taking a little screwdriver just to pry underneath there. All right, take that off. All right, so before I put the gasket on, what I do is I take a little bit of the old oil and just lubricate it. All right, so just a little lubrication on there, nothing major. Then put the new one on. Uh-oh. All right, so we got the new one on. Get the new filter, pop it in there, and we're good to go. All right, then we're gonna reinsert it. But we're not gonna screw it in yet. Just putting it back on top so we can have a cover on the filter housing so we don't have anything fall in there. All right, so now let's go underneath the car. All right, so the first thing we have to do is take off the underneath covers. I'm using an 8mm socket. Usually these are just hand tight, so that's why I don't have a ratchet at the moment. And I knew as soon as I say something I was going to need a ratchet, so I will need a ratchet. Actually, I'm going to use my power tool with the socket attachment. Make this a little faster, hopefully. Alright, so that's the first cover. Underneath the bolt, which is located right here. And we're going to loosen that up and let it drain out. Alright, it's a size 13 socket. Alright, we broke the bolt. Now you gotta be ready to catch it. Not sure how far it's gonna shoot out, so. And you wanna perform this when the engine oil is warm. I mean, you don't really want it hot, because then you might burn yourself, and it's hard to work around engine when it's hot. But you do want it to be warm, not cold. Alright, that wasn't too bad. Glad I did move the pan over though. So as you can see, you really want that angle on the car so it can drain out the bottom here. Okay, so when it starts to drip like that, you're ready to seal it back up with the new bolt and crush ring. Alright, so here's the new bolt and crush ring. So you want to make sure it's on there good, thread it correctly. Remember, don't force nothing. Then we're going to tighten it back up. I usually tighten it wrist tight, but there may be a torque spec. There's always a torque spec, I'm sure. And I'll link that below in the description or put it in the video. You want to wipe down around the area just so when you add new oil, you can ensure that it is not leaking. Alright, so that's it for that. Then you move to the front of the vehicle. On this vehicle, it has a oil cooler, and that's located right next to the radiator. So I'm going to show you that now. Alright, you have to take off this front cover using the same 8mm socket. That's one good thing, at least they're all consistent. On the Maserati, there are different sizes and types of bolts. Alright, so the oil cooler drain plug is right here. It only has probably about a half a quart to 3/4 quart of oil in it. Alright, so I was going to change it, but I decided not to, due to the fact I don't have another bolt with the crush ring. So that's optional, but I mean the old oil in here, the little bit that's in there is going to mix with the new one, and on the next oil change it'll just drain out with that and cycle through that way. So if you want to, you can do that. If you don't, it should be optional, but do what you think is best for your car. So let's move to the top and add the oil. All right, so now that we drained all the oil out and put a new bolt in there to seal it up, now let's move to the top and we're going to seal up the oil filter cap and we're going to add the oil. For this car, I believe it's 8.8 quarts of oil that is required. But when you do your oil change, you fill it up and then you turn the car on, let it cycle a little bit, check the dipstick, and then top it off if needed. So let's get started. All right, so we've already changed the filter. Put that on. We're gonna tighten it up. Remember, this has to be torqued and it's right on top. All right, so we're gonna adjust our wrench to 25 Newton meters or 18.4 pounds of torque. All right, 32-bit socket. All right, there you have it. So now it's time to fill up the oil. Using a clean funnel, you want to go ahead and put in your oil. So you would notice that this is green, and that is intentional. I didn't know it was green before I purchased it, to be honest with you, but it's some new technology. I think it's where you can use a black light and then you can see where oil is leaking out. But I am not putting transmission fluid into my motor oil. Just so you can see, that's full synthetic motor oil. So I put about 6 quarts so far. The kit that I got from FCP Euro comes with 9 quarts. So like I said, around 8 quarts and a half or so, I'm going to turn the car on and check my levels. All right, so that's about 8.8 quarts, I would say. So I'm gonna start up my engine. I'm gonna close up the oil cover cap, close my dipstick. Let's start the car. Make sure there's nothing on there that could break your engine when you start it. All right, so we've finished putting oil in there. I'm going to tighten up the bottom, put all the covers back on, and then drop the car down and start it up. We're going to see if the oil level is right with the dipstick. After turning it on, we're going to add a little bit more and top it out. All right, here we go. All right, guys, there you have it. We have completed an oil change on the E63 AMG. If you found this video useful, please give me a thumbs up. Click that subscription button and that notification bell. I'll make sure to send you videos your way as soon as I post them. So until next time, thanks for checking out my video. I'm out.